And of course, if you all haven't had a chance to scan the QR code and sign in, please do so that we can take attendance. But alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jose Rivera Hernandez, and I am the coordinator for student organizations within the Office of Student Life and Leadership. And I'm going to spend about 15-20 minutes just talking about the re-registration process, which is now open to all of our student organizations as of May. So let's go ahead and get started with that. As I said, I'm going to be talking about steps to re-registration and what it looks like to complete that process, as well as provide you all with some information on Titan Link and the actual form itself, along with some information on LeadCon and DiscoverFest. And of course, we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end of the presentation. All right, so the re-registration process is a process that all of our returning student organizations need to complete. It takes place between the month of May and August. So the registration window opened on May 1st, and it is set to close on August 31st. There are 3 steps to re-registration. Of course, the first step is completing the re-registration form, which is found on Titan Link. The second step is for our presidents and treasurers to complete official officer training, which will be found in Canva and will be accessed through all of you enrolling into a Canvas course. The training isn't available until this Friday, July 1st. So you should be receiving an email from me on Friday or a few days after, or when we come back from the weekend on Monday, giving you further instruction on how you enroll in that Canvas course to complete the officer training. And lastly, we have LeadCon attendance. I will talk a little bit more about LeadCon as we continue on through the presentation. But of course, we do ask that at least one member of your organization attend LeadCon. And that's just a student leadership conference that'll share some very insightful information, workshops on leadership development skills, and also information on some of our internal processes and procedures for student organizations. And then also a really big reminder, starting this Friday, July 1st, your student organization Titan Link accounts will be frozen. So what exactly does that mean? Unfortunately, you won't be able to make any changes to your Titan Link page, reserve spaces on campus until the re-registration process is complete. You will, however, be able to submit a re-registration form and make edits to the form as well. So that doesn't block you from making changes to your form, but unfortunately, you won't be able to make changes to your actual student org Titan Link profile and account. So just as a huge heads up there. Alrighty, so the officer qualifications consist of a few things. So the first, of course, is requiring that our presidents and treasurers complete official online training in a Canvas course shell, which will be available starting Friday. Student officers, so presidents and treasurers, must also meet the minimum requirement of having a 2.0 grade point average, so GPA, and must also be in good standing with the university. There's also a unit load for our undergraduate and graduate students. Our undergraduate students are required to at least be enrolled in 6 classes for the semester. And also, undergraduate students should not surpass a maximum of 150 semester units. For our graduate students, it is a little less. So graduate students are able to be enrolled in a 3 unit classroom for the semester. And also, they should not exceed the unit cap of 50 semester units. So I do want to reiterate that this is part of the qualifications, and we actually will determine if officers are eligible to serve in their roles. I think a little before August. We send the information to have your grades checked, just to verify that you will be able to serve in your position and do meet these qualifications. All right, so another reminder regarding the re-registration form is that only the current or incoming president should be completing the form. You will be able to access the form now. You'll access it by logging into Titan Link, selecting the organizations, and then searching for your organization. You should see this blue tab that will allow you and prompt you to register your organization once you've found it in Titan. So it's as simple as that. You're just jumping on Titan Link and searching for your org, and you should see this blue tab here that will allow you to register your organization. All right, so I want to talk about a few components regarding the re-registration form itself. We do provide a very hopefully simple to understand instructions on the form itself. So a lot of it is just answering the questions as they come. Within your organization profile, you want to make sure that you include a summary or a description about what your organization is and kind of like what it's about. Also, when it comes to a profile picture, we actually don't require you to have one for your organization, but of course, we recommend it as it's a way of, letting students know like kind of what your organization is about. It's always nice to have a logo or an image that represents your organization. When it comes to organization interest and categories, it's important that you identify what your organization is a part of and what categories it falls under. That way it's, if you're currently recruiting students and you want to share that information, students know how to search for your organization in Titan Link. Another important component is the organization roster. So organizations need a minimum of 5 students. Within those 5 students, you need a president, treasurer, and a faculty staff advisor. So please be sure to include that information in the roster, and of course include your members as well, but we for sure need at least a president, treasurer, advisor, and at least 3 other students in order for your org to be active. And now moving on to like the supplemental and agreement statement. So I do encourage all of you to just take your time reading through this information. A lot of it will be statements that we do require our organizations to adhere to, right? Such as agreeing to student conduct policies, anti-hazing, Title IX, right? All these are issues that unfortunately do occur within student organizations. And of course, it's not tolerated at Cal State Fullerton. So please take your time going through these statements and just checking those boxes off. So that you are able to successfully submit an approved registration form. I do also want to mention that we need your advisor's contact information. We also need the information of the president and treasurer under the leadership info for verification section. And of course, if you have an ASI account number, we also need that information as well on the re-registration form. All right, so I do want to briefly talk about the Constitution. So all the items that are in bold within the sample Constitution that we have need to be included in your Constitution. A lot of you are returning organizations, or I should say all of you are, because you're submitting the re-registration form. So hopefully you should have a Constitution, and you would have obtained it through a template at some point that we would have given you. So it's the same template. Again, all the bolded items in that Constitution need to be in your Constitution as well. Also, if you don't have any edits for your Constitution this year, then you do not need to upload a new Constitution in the re-registration form. However, if you did recently amend and make changes to your Constitution, then we will ask you to please upload your new Constitution in the registration form. Also, another quick reminder, there are certain sections that only apply to sports clubs and fraternities and sororities. So those would be the Article 2 alternative sections 2 and 3 that only apply to those organization groups. So if you do not fall under these groups, please do not include that in this information or this section in your Constitution. All right, so let's say that you need to make changes or edits to your Constitution or to your re-registration form. We recently denied it for such and such reasons, and you want to make these changes. You should be able to access your form by selecting on your profile in Titan Link, selecting the submissions tab, and then you should see all of the re-registration information there. There should also be a comment that myself or another SSL staff member will leave in regards to, why it was denied, or if you have additional, or if an additional comment was made for you to review. So that information should be visible. By following these instructions, you should be able to see this information under the submissions tab. All right, so I do want to briefly talk about some common errors and mistakes that we do see on denied re-registration forms. So one of the biggest ones is just, unfortunately, organizations do not include the ASI account number if they indeed have one. So of course, not all student organizations have an ASI account number. However, we do have a record of organizations that do, and if we come upon a re-registration form that does not have, did not include it in the form, did not include the ASI account number, then we will deny it because this organization does have an ASI account number and you will need to provide it. Let's say you don't know what it is, that's okay. You can email ASI accounting, or you can email student life at fullerton.edu, and we are happy to provide that number to you. As a courtesy, we'll also provide the number in the comments section of the denied form. And we'll just ask that you just confirm with ASI accounting that that number is correct. But we do need an ASI account number if your organization has one. We do need it in the re-registration form. When it comes to the public profile, I do also want to mention, be very careful with the information that you put in that public profile, such as like personal phone number, address, contact information, because it is visible to students. The only information that would be acceptable within that public profile is if your organization belongs or is under a department on campus, because it'll be the school's address, right? So if your organization isn't under another department on campus, then we'll ask you to not include any other information, or I should say, I take that back. If your organization also belongs to an honor society or is part of a national organization, then it's appropriate to include the address and information there. But aside from that, if your organization isn't a part of a department on campus or isn't affiliated with an organization, then you shouldn't be putting any personal information in the public profile because it will be visible to other students. So just as an FYI there. I would say it would be acceptable to include a club email, or maybe one person's like primary contact's email. But outside of that, I would probably not have any information on there. And then, of course, another reason why sometimes the re-registration forms are denied is because the Constitution has some incorrect information, or a lot of the bolded information is not included. So I just as a reminder, make sure that all of the bolded information within the Constitution from the template or the sample is also in your newly revised Constitution. All right, and then of course we always sometimes receive some frequently asked questions, regarding why the form was denied. I've mentioned several already, but really it really just comes down to not providing the required information, right? So if we're missing a summary of the organization, or if there isn't an ASI account number, that it should be listed on the re-registration form. There's all sorts of factors that could result in the organization or the re-registration form being denied. However, we will always provide you with feedback, and we'll let you know what it is that you need to fix in the comments section. And again, you should see that information under your submissions tab once the re-registration form is denied. And it should be pretty simple to make those changes, because again, we'll leave you that really important feedback. So another question we also oftentimes receive is, the form was approved, that all went well, but why is my account still frozen on Titan Link? Well, as a reminder, re-registration is a 3-step process. So you have the re-registration form, You also complete the officer training in Canva. And then the last piece of the re-registration process is attending LeadCon. So until those three things happen, then your organization Titan Link page will remain frozen starting July 1st. So just as a reminder there. And then another question we oftentimes receive is, how are you able to update your Titan Link page if you're not registered? Unfortunately, you're not able to do that until you've completed re-registration. So, that's the answer for that. And how do I access the online training? So let me actually go to the next slide here. Oh, actually, this isn't the slide well, it's fine. So the online training, I will email you that information starting July 1st or a few days after the weekend. You should be receiving an email from me. But please, of course, if you don't hear from me in a few days, once we're back from the holiday weekend from July 4th, please send me a follow-up email. You can email studentlife@fullerton.edu. But my goal is to have all this information emailed to all of our approved registered orgs as soon as possible so that you are able to log in and enroll in the Canvas shell and complete that officer training. All right, so LeadCon, this is also coming up on August 8th through the 11th and August 15th through the 18th. This is part of the re-registration process. It is simply a student organization leadership conference. It is open to all students, but of course we do require at least one member from your organization to attend. But of course, this is open to everyone. You don't have to be part of an organization to attend LeadCon. We will be releasing more information in the coming weeks on how to register to these specific workshops, but do save those dates for LeadCon, which is happening August 8th through the 11th and August 15th through the 18th. All right, and another exciting event that is taking place soon is Discover Fest. So if you aren't familiar with Discover Fest or need a little bit of a refresher, it's simply a tabling opportunity for our clubs and organizations to showcase their programs, their orgs at CSUF. It's a 2-day event. It is one of the largest events that our department hosts. And this is really just an awesome opportunity for your organizations to table, especially if you are recruiting for students. These events are really, really beneficial in that. And of course, we want all of our organizations to be a part of it. Their Discover Fest interest form will be available on Titan Link beginning July 1st. So head on to Titan Link, click on the Forms tab, and it should be Discover Fest or Fall 2022 Discover Fest form. Submit that form, and we will have your information, and we will have your interest in wanting to participate. I will say though that submitting the interest form does not guarantee you a spot to participate. Only registered organizations are able to participate in Discover Fest. So we really won't know who will be participating until after LeadCon. So just be mindful of that. Just because you submit this form doesn't mean you're going to get a table. It's super important that you just complete re-registration altogether. That way your org is active and you are officially able to participate in these events. And please save the dates. Discover Fest is taking place on Tuesday, August 30th and Wednesday, August 31st from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at here on Cal State Fullerton. So it's an in-person event that we're super excited about. All right, and I believe this is actually my last slide, but I do want to just share some really quick resources for all of you. Titan Link news articles are huge in our department. We are constantly sharing information and updates through these news articles. So do expect some upcoming articles on LeadCon and Discover Fest. But yeah, check out that information. We do have a current re-registration information article on there. and I'm going to go ahead and just update that information and include the officer training link sometime on Friday. So worst case scenario, you don't hear from me on Friday, just go on to Titan Link and you should see a news article with the officer training link embedded in there. Also, subscribe to our SSL YouTube channel. We have some really great resources on there. There's always some great content, so that is also very helpful in getting you ready for re-registration, LeadCon, and DiscoverFest. And of course, we have a very active Student Life and Leadership Instagram page. We are always sharing some information on there. We're sharing these re-registration workshops on there as well. So do give us a follow just to stay up to date on what's going on within Student Life and Leadership. All right, and I believe that is everything. I will go ahead and stop the recording here.